Going to be looking at the Week 1 NFL picks against the spreads. This is our Thursday thoughts after the Chiefs-Ravens game, which was quite the nail biter at the end. We might talk about that a little bit, but we're going to get into some updates for the Week 1 picks. We did a show on Tuesday. We're going to do another show now and then another show on Saturday. So before we get into that, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. All that mean a lot to us. As you can see here in the merch store, we have a ton of t-shirts, including September is Lust Month. So Lust rights are human rights. Make sure you get your Lust Month t-shirt. I had one. I gave it to my father-in-law, and he wore it around, and he got some dirty looks at the gym, he told me. So you can easily identify who your friends are and who your enemies are by wearing the shirt. Or some people would just probably look at you confused, like, wait a second, what is that? So this is our Lust Month t-shirt. You can get that. As you can see here, I'm wearing a Pedo Pete t-shirt. So I do wear these shirts all the time, as I say. So you can get this one for $17 and all the other ones for about between $17 and $19, which I think is a good deal in this economy. Also, please consider super chats, super stickers. Just really appreciate the help, guys. You guys have helped us out a lot. On Tuesday, we had some great ones from Slew, John Sanders, and Can't Make an Eagle. In the past, we had Germ, Degeneron, Kevin Kovac. You guys have been so great. Just really appreciate all the help. Like I said, YouTube ads pay nothing. So any further contributions would really be appreciated. It just means so much. Also, please consider going to Amazon to buy my book. This is my third book. I write a section on the site called Jerks of the Week where I make fun of people. And this is the college version of that. Jerks to the College Years. Also, my second book was how the 2020 MVP was stolen. It's an expose I wrote about how Brett Favre tried to sabotage Aaron Rodgers' 2020 MVP award, which is it's quite the story if you haven't read it. So you can check out these books on Amazon. So without further ado, we have the return of Quacky T. Tom, it's been more than a month. Glad to have you back on. How's it going?
Yeah, here we are again. What an exciting time it is. Yeah, we kind of just couldn't link up there for a while, but I was what a great start to the season. Great call on the Chiefs. I actually took you helped me out on a couple fronts because after I read your pick, I took the Chiefs and then I live bet them when they were down 7-0. So I got the money line. So I got that, and then I cashed in a DraftKings lineup too. Thanks to I didn't even look at like your write-up for it, but I saw that you mentioned Isaiah Likely, so I started Likely, and he was only like 14% owned, and obviously he had a huge game. What a finish, though! I mean, I'm excited. I've got a couple. I've got some good plays here for you too. I'm excited to get. We have a long-standing history of cutting out the foolishness and getting down to business, and finally we've been bantering for months, and now it's like yes. we're back to do what you do best at least. But looking forward to it.
Let's get down to business. Yeah, absolutely. Matthias says Lamar sucks, and so does Zay Flowers. Well, Lamar had a good fantasy game. He was in the optimal lineup. By the way, congrats to Cam Cole, who I believe he's the only. I don't know how many millies he's won. He's won 4 or 5, I think. He has the most millie wins ever on DraftKings. He chopped the millie today with Isaiah Likely, a captain. His lineup, by the way, was brilliant. It was $98,000. It was having a 13-way tie for first. It was Likely captain with Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, so both quarterbacks, Pacheco, Rice, and Worthy. Congrats to Cam Cole. Cool dude. Congrats to him. Travis says meow.
Meow. What's up, Travis?
Yeah. John says Lamar just locked up the MVP. We'll see. Yeah. The Cinder says huge night. We didn't deserve to lose those bets with a touchdown like that at the end. Yeah, that was. I was like, come on. I was like, all right, well, at least we have overtime. And then Harbaugh was like, go 2-2. Like, I actually yelled. I yelled at CM like, F you, Harbaugh. Like, come on, dude. So that was thank goodness that he was.
I saw that and I was like, before Tariq said anything, I was like, he has one finger up, right?
Right.
I know. I ain't trying to see that, but yeah, I know. That was really something. So
yeah, John echoing bet Chiefs -3 when Harbaugh put up going for 2 after the touchdown's going to throw. Yeah, the only way that could have gone in our favor is if like the Ravens false started and then they'd have to go back to kicking the extra point. That was really the only way. So like I said, thank goodness Likely was out of bounds. Alex says Chiefs secondary looks super suspect, but Chiefs seem like significantly better team overall. Yeah, I agree. You don't want to read too much into one game, but the Ravens offensive line does not look great, and we kind of thought that would be the case.
Was it real quick? Was it just me, or was it like rather obvious when like Derrick Henry was going to get the ball tonight?
Yeah, it was kind of telegraphed. I feel like they didn't use him properly, or like maybe you can't even use him properly anymore because he's kind of washed up. I didn't really get why it was the second round fantasy pick. It's so bizarre. By the way, I ventured into best ball for the first time. I did my first ever best ball draft last night, and I got Isaiah Likely in it just because I wanted someone else. I had Evan Ingram, and like best ball is like 20 rounds, so you have to have like backups and stuff. Yeah. And so I can't remember who I wanted. It might have been Tucker Kraft or something, and like someone took him, and then the next guy on my tight end list was Isaiah Likely. So he was the only one in that lineup who went tonight. By the way, I could tell why people get so addicted to best ball. It was like crack. And then I got a free I got a free ticket, and I was like, oh, let me draft again. And then I drafted 2 more times today, so I have 4 lineups. So we'll see. I maybe I'll probably draft like a billion lineups next year. It's already
yeah. That winning lineup, it's always like 1 or 2. It wasn't, my lineup wasn't too different. I think I had Chiefs defense too, because I thought maybe, I don't know, but yeah, I still cashed, so I doubled up.
Yeah, that was nice one there. Parrot says, Walt, you won't believe a line I got on Bovada. The Ravens got the ball to start, and so I started looking at best, and the Chiefs were minus 25 to score 2.5 in the first quarter. Wow, that's insane. Congrats on that one. That's wow, that's pretty wild. Sue says, I bet Chiefs minus 3.5. Yeah. Same thing. Touchdown's gonna cry. Yeah.
Yeah, John, you and John Sanders both.
Yeah.
So what's this?
Well, we'll see. We'll get some first game in a second.
We'll see what happens with that there, Cinder.
Yeah, Matthias says starter worthy. Congrats. Need to start 1. Neighbors, Cooper, Addison, or Dell. Leaning toward the safe pick. I assume you think the safe pick is Cooper. Or maybe Dell. Dell has a tougher matchup because the Colts have the Colts' best cornerback is in the slot, so it's not ideal. It's not like he can't have a great game though. Like, you shouldn't read like too much into matchups, but my rankings are on the site. I'm gonna look up my rankings real quick. But what were you gonna say?
Yeah, no, Matthias, and when you take this into consideration, if you're considering Neighbors, are you gonna be like biased because do you want him to have a good game against your Vikings? You know what I mean? So all I'm saying is take that into consideration with like how much bias there is with that, if any. So. Because I know that's there since they're playing each other. So
so I don't know if it's PPR standard, but in PPR I have Cooper at 14, I have Dell at 12, I have Neighbors at 15, which is I guess Neighbors, but like I said, like Tom said, maybe you don't want to do that. And then Addison, I don't think I have highly. I have Addison at 12, so. Yeah, in order, it would be Neighbors, Cooper, Dell, and then actually Dell and Addison are tied at the end. Actually, it's the order in which you have here. So that kind of worked out. Bagley says Cooper. Yeah, it's close between Cooper and Neighbors, I think. But yeah, with the equity of like not cheering against your team, maybe you want to go with Cooper. All right, so let's get down to business here. Like you said, we have. Packers at Eagles. Actually, this is technically in Brazil, so it's a neutral site game. Lots of controversy here with we have the free speech thing, X being shut down in Brazil. The Packers are 2 hours away from the stadium. They have to take a 2-hour drive just to get to the stadium, which is bizarre. Eagles players were complaining about their safety. It seems like no one wants to play in this game. So I think this is a game that should be easy is maybe a little tricky here just because I feel like there are a lot of question marks, but I mean, you've been banging the drum for Eagles minus 2.5 or maybe it's like minus 1.5 earlier all summer. So are you still super high on the Eagles?
I really am. It's not, I remember that Eagles Vikings week 2 game where I was like get the feeling. Mm-hmm. It's not quite there. But it's like, look, come on. Look, for those of you who don't know, I'm a lifelong Green Bay Packers fan, and I'm here to tell you that I think the Eagles are going to absolutely roll the Packers tomorrow night, like maybe to the tune of like 35-14 or something. Because this is an Eagles team that's won. They're just now going to be 2 seasons removed from the Super Bowl. They started out 10-1. Yeah, they had a lot of liabilities on defense, of course. I mean, that was pretty obvious, but they've taken some steps to remedy that. And then and then Hurts was hurt at the end of the season. In that playoff game against Tampa Bay, which is what people are going to remember here, I think, that's as far as the public goes. That was one of the most pathetic, yeah. That was one of the most pathetic sentences I've ever put together. That was one of the most pathetic playoff performances I've ever seen. Meanwhile, Green Bay, of course, like, who's going to forget, like, when Dallas takes a beating from Green, and then they almost beat the 49ers, of course. They had the lead in the fourth quarter of that divisional game. I think this is a really serious case of just like living off reputation, because like I love my Packers, obviously, and I think the future is bright for them. I expect them to have a pretty good year, but it's like, yeah, that was a cool run you guys put together at the end of the year, but then like you also lost to like the Broncos and Raiders like just like a couple months ago. I don't know, I do think they're really good, but they're still very young, and I just think that people, like, after what was technically like one playoff win against a perennial choker in Dallas, and people were like ready to like hype them up. Like they are good, but I don't think they're there yet. And everyone's going to look at this last playoff game that the Eagles had. Oh, they're terrible. Like, they're going to forget this was a team that basically mowed everyone down to get to the Super Bowl. Well, they kind of had an easy path, but regardless, just 2 seasons ago, and then and then they started out 10-1. I think people kind of forget how good this team is. And especially on offense, I think this could really be a romp, and I really am interested in putting this on the card if I can talk you into it. But I feel very strong about the Eagles here, and I've felt this way about them for a couple months now.
Yeah.
So I mean, anything can happen, but like I think it's saying something too, like that it's my own team, the team that I've followed for my entire life. But I think the Eagles are gonna there's a good chance they could run a clinic. I'd consider taking alt line -9, actually, like a sprinkle, and like definitely like -6. So, but hey, I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. But I really like the Eagles here.
I'll be sad if we don't put it on the card and then it comes to fruition, like what you said. For me, it's just like a lot of unknowns with this game being in Brazil and like the players complaining about it. But then again, you had, and I mentioned this on Tuesday, Matt LaFleur, back 2 years ago when he had to go to London. He missed a meeting and he was complaining about the time difference. I know that like Atlantic time is not like London time. So still, it's a 2-hour difference. So I don't know, maybe it will be a little bit confused instead of very confused. I don't know. But yeah, like the fact that the Packers are 2 hours away from the stadium too just makes your argument better for the Eagles. But John Sanders bring up a good point. Which team has the new coordinators? Yeah, the Eagles have 2 new coordinators. Now, granted, I like them better than what they had last year. So it should be an upgrade, but there might also be an adjustment period. These guys haven't played at all in the preseason, whereas the Packers did a little bit. You kind of saw that tonight. The Ravens didn't play at all in the preseason. The Chiefs did. Chiefs actually played 2 games in the preseason, their starters. And the Ravens, they had those 4 illegal formation penalties to start the drive. The opening drive to start the game. And so it's kind of like evident that they didn't play. And so I wonder if that's going to hurt the Eagles at least a little bit. It may not. I mean, it just may just be much ado about nothing. But I don't think this is like an obvious play. I have the Eagles for a small play. I think the Packers are legitimately good. I wouldn't look at those Broncos and Raiders games or even the Giants game late in the year because they didn't have Christian Watson for some of those games. They didn't have Aaron Jones. Now they have Josh Jacobs, who's even better as a runner, at least. I just feel like the Packers are legitimately a great team. I think they are definitely a top 10 team, maybe not so top 5. I think the Eagles are better, though. But again, with all the unknowns, I have trouble making a huge bet here. So the fact that you're super confident in the Eagles makes me like them a little bit more than I probably would. But I am not going to make a big bet on this game. But if you're adamant that he wants this on the card, then I'm fine submitting it because if you're going to submit a card early, it should be week 1 or Thanksgiving.
Right. And typically, I wouldn't do that, but yeah,
because week 1 is just not a ton of injuries. There are a couple question marks right now, like Keenan Allen, for example, is limited into practices. The Steelers, Isaac Somalo's missed practices all week, so there are a couple guys who are question marks, but it's not going to be like week 6 or week 7 where like we're waiting on a million people. So I'm fine submitting this early if you really want to, but you're definitely higher on this one than I am.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see how the rest of it pans out, and we'll figure it out. So
okay. So saying something's wrong with this video. Quacky's not wearing a cheese head.
I did own a couple cheese heads. I think they might be like back in like storage, like Pennsylvania or something. I did have cheese heads at one point though. So, but I didn't wear them out necessarily. But
nice.
I'll try to get them.
Matthias says I like the Eagles here. And Pro 60K says you're going to eat those words calling Denver a crappy squad. I'll be back after to beat Seattle outright, just to remind you. All right.
I was talking about last year's Denver team, but
well, we'll look forward to you returning Pro 16K. Not beating Seattle is not like a great just a great like trophy or anything. Seattle's just not really that good either. All right, so let's get to the Sunday slate. Jaguars at Dolphins. Line's still 3.5. I have not looked at the weather yet. I usually do that on Friday, but I did look at the weather on Tuesday, and it said 88 degrees, sunny, humid, 72% humidity. So I assume it's going to be just like torturous for the Jaguars on the sideline. I think John Sanders said either yesterday or 2 days ago that it was going to be like 130 degrees for the Jaguars in the sun, whereas the Dolphins are in the shade. So it's a big advantage for them. Something I missed is I assumed Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb would both be out, but Jalen Phillips is practicing. I read somewhere that he was going to be in the PUP list, but apparently that's not the case. So that makes me like Miami even more. I just was assuming Miami's defense was going to be horrendous. But I'm still bearish on the defense. They still lost a lot of players. So yeah, I like Miami. I hate the 3.5 though. It's the worst spread to bet in football just because so many games land on 3. So I always say that if you bet the 3.5, you need a great reason to do so. And maybe the great reason is the Miami home field advantage in September. That could be it. But I otherwise think these teams are about even. So I'm not like eager to bet the Dolphins. Any leans here?
I'm not going to touch this one, but I'm actually on the other side. I like Jacksonville here if I'm going to take it. I'm probably not going to. I do buy what you're saying for sure. There is an advantage there, but I feel like that advantage, given that they're, obviously Jacksonville's a Florida team too. But like I feel like that's going to be more impactful to a team like the Broncos that lost 70-20, or the Patriots didn't Tom Brady have a losing record in Miami? I think during his time in New England. So like I'll put some stock into it, but maybe I'm not sure I'll put as much as you are perhaps. But like I really like this Jags team last year. As you know, I always bet 2 teams to win the Super Bowl before the season starts. And last season, the Jaguars were one of those teams. And what were they? I think they were 8-3, right? And what they finished? Yep. They finished 9-8.
Yes.
And Trevor Lawrence got hurt. He didn't miss any games, but he was a shell of himself. Anyone who watched could see it. At least to me, it seemed pretty obvious. And obviously they missed the playoffs last year. But I do. I think maybe because of the way they finished. The expectations are, not very high for them. I still think they're a pretty solid team. I don't really, 3 is it? Well, what is it? 3.5 now?
Yeah, it's 3.5. It's 3.5 in the contest. It's still 3.5. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wrote the wrong thing down here then. But yeah, I don't know. It's the Dolphins are a much sexier team. It's hard to. It's kind of hard to go against them. I'm not going to touch it, but I'd take the Jags if I had to.
Okay. John said they'll go 1-16 then, Denver. And then Denver's a joke. And then he says, you're a joke.
Remember?
Cassandra has a joke, is what he's saying. It's actually a compliment. He says, you're.
We're all jokes here.
We all have jokes. Denver
real quick. Remember when Jacksonville won the first game of the year and then lost every other game?
Yeah, to the Colts, right? They're 9-point dogs. Yeah.
What was that? 2020? I don't know why I just thought of that. That was freaking hilarious.
Yeah, and everyone had the Colts in the in their survivor pools, and they were 9-point favorites, and that was the only game the Jaguars won. So, yeah, it was pretty wild. Yeah. Cinder asked Josh Jacobs or James Conner. For this week, Conner, I think is a great matchup. John says, the Nuggets are good. Yes. Pro says, Bo is super smart and do whatever it takes to win. I don't know. This team, it's not good.
I don't have anything against the Broncos. I'm just not sure that they're gonna. I'm rooting for them though. Pro 16K.
If Denver is great, then so are the Pats. Hey, Colts are always unpredictable week one. That was the Philip Rivers team, right?
Yeah, that was. I remember two seasons ago when Matt Ryan was on the Colts, and the first week, like half of every survivor pool went out because they tied the Texans. My God, what a failed experiment that was.
Yeah, that was awful.
Sorry, not to really rub it in on the Colts here, but
whatever it takes, you should play defense with Sean Payton. Yeah, Denver has a lot of holes, unfortunately.
Do you remember Denver won that game 11-10?
Yeah.
That we went 5-0 that week. Sorry, I'm getting us distracted. I know we got.
Oh no, against San Francisco.
Yeah.
Sunday night game. Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah. That was one of the crazier games ever. Like it could have gone so many ways.
It really could have. I actually hit we went 5-0 that week on our super contest card, and I usually didn't do this, but I parlayed all 5 picks. I hit a 5-team parlay.
Oh, wow.
I don't really do those at all, so that was nice.
That's awesome. Dusto saying, were they going to go for 2 or 20 every week? Yeah, I mean, he had 2 touchdowns, but he touched the ball 3 times. So I wouldn't rely on that. But then again, he will get more touches, as he gets more experience in the offense. So he might be one of those hit or miss guys, kind of like Gabe Davis or something. He's going to be better than Gabe Davis. I'm just saying, like relatively wise for fantasy, just like boom or bust. But I don't know. I think he definitely has more potential, obviously. So we have Steelers and Falcons now. I mentioned earlier there's an offensive line injury here for the Steelers. Isaac Somalo might be out. Steelers have some offensive line issues. They couldn't block in the preseason. And also Russell Wilson. Here's an injury. Russell Wilson is limited in practice, so he might be banged up. It might be Justin Fields' time. We'll see. Or Wilson might be limited himself. But yeah, the Falcons are favored by 3. This is a game in which I changed my opinion. I like the Steelers early in the offseason, and I could still be talked into it. They have Arthur Smith there who has knowledge of the Falcons. It might be bad knowledge, but still he knows something. And usually Mike Tomlin as an underdog is pretty incredible. I have it down here. I think he's like 58-34. Yeah, 58-34 against the spread as an underdog, which is incredible. Yeah. But I just betting the Steelers at +3 means that Russell Wilson needs to either win or just keep the game super close. And I just don't want to bet on Russell Wilson, especially if he's injured. I just think he sucks so much. So I'm going to pass on this one. I'm not going to bet it. Any thoughts here?
Well, you kind of answered I was going to ask you, who do you think we're more likely to see first in this game, Justin Fields or Michael Penix Jr.? But it sounds like be more likely to be Fields.
Yeah, I by the way, I drafted Fields in the 16th round of every best ball draft I did.
Oh yeah,
so I'm like, why are people not drafting this guy? He's gonna start eventually, and he's gonna go nuts in a few weeks.
I did. By the way, I did bet Michael Penix Jr. to win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I remember.
60-1. I got.
I remember.
But just because you never know with the Falcons, there's always something crazy. Yeah, so that answers that question. I'm not going to touch this one. I liked the Steelers before, like maybe a month ago, like leading into this matchup. I thought they might be a good pick. Mm-hmm. I just nothing against him personally, but I just never thought everyone when he was on the Seahawks, Russell Wilson's so elite. I just never liked. I hated those Seahawks teams, man. Of course, as a Green Bay fan, why I hold a grudge, but I just always thought Russell Wilson was so underwhelming, and even in Seattle, he played well, of course, plenty of years, but I'm just really shocked to see the Steelers because they are a public dog here, right? I think the Falcons are going to just be. I do think the Falcons are going to be underwhelming, and that's why I'm sort of leaning the Steelers here. But I don't know. I don't put much stock in the preseason, but the Steelers looked underwhelming themselves in the preseason. So I'd stay away from this one, but I would take the Steelers, I think, if I had to.
There's more public money on the Steelers than any other team in the NFL this week.
That's so weird. I'm there's quite a few public dogs, and I don't really like that. So we'll cross those bridges when we get to them.
Yeah. All right. Next game. It is Vikings at the Giants. We had a communication about this one via text. I'm not like crazy about the Giants. I like them a little bit. It feels like kind of dumb that the Vikings are favored on the road, where this is a rebuilding year for them. Like next year, I suspect they're going to be a lot better. But now that they have Sam Darnold starting and being favored on the road, which seems crazy.
Oh.
Like I know the Giants suck, but they didn't suck 2 years ago. They made the playoffs 2 years ago. I know that was a bit of a mirage, but still, they're not going to be as bad as they were last year. They have Brian Burns now. The front seven's actually pretty good. The cornerbacks are terrible, but they can at least defend in the front seven. They have a real receiver for Daniel Jones for the first time, so they have some stuff going on. So I'm inclined to take the Giants. Primarily, this is going to be a teaser leg for me. I'm going to take the Giants plus 7.5. And pair them with another team I'll mention later. I'll mention them now with Bengals because I talked about it on Tuesday, so it's not really a spoiler here. So this is not going to make the card or anything, but like I said, mild interest in betting the Giants. What do you think?
I'm so confused by this game. I have a buddy who, since McCarthy was injured, was making a $50 bet on online blackjack every day, and every time he won, he would take the $50 and bet it on the Giants because he loves the Giants that much.
Nice.
So I don't know. I guess I thought, and maybe obviously I don't have a read on this game. I'm probably not going to touch this one, but I am leaning Giants after talking to you as well. But I guess I thought that when we knew McCarthy was going to be out, that people would be on the Giants, bad as as they are, or as people perceive them to be. I guess I just thought with Sam, people want to back Sam Darnold. Like, okay, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have been shocked by that. I guess I just wasn't expecting it. So slightly into the Giants here for me, but there's so many other games I like more here.
Yeah. John's saying Giants lost 40-0 last year in the home opener. Yeah, I mean they were playing a good team. This Minnesota's not a good team. It's just a big difference. The Giants can beat bad teams. They're a bad team as well. So Sue says when he could scramble plus his accurate deep ball, Russell Wilson was dynamic, and then he hurt his knee and played on it, and then he married that Sierra chick and his game went into decline. I will disagree on Wilson in the past. I used to love Russell Wilson. I thought he was always underrated, but his past couple of years have been super rough. Like, I don't think he should be a starter in the NFL anymore.
It's like we kept waiting and waiting. It'll get better. And it never did.
Right.
And that was that. I mean, I thought like eventually it had to. I couldn't believe that didn't like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we blame Nathaniel Hackett the first year, and it's like, okay, yeah, Sean Payton's coming in. He's going to be better, and he was not. He was not better. Yeah, So Matthias says Vikings here, also not biased against starting players versus Vikings. I'm biased drafting Bears and Packer bumps. Okay, so yeah, you're like Kenny, where it hurts his soul to talk about the Giants. So I think it's about the same thing here with you with the Bears and Packers. Michael says, Michael, how's it going? I hope your recovery is going well. Do you think the Giants O-line is going to be serviceable as opposed to horrible? 3 new veteran starters given up on Evan Neal looks like. Yeah, Evan Neal was a disaster. I like Jermaine Illuminor. He's a good player. So at least they're going to have a better right tackle. John Runyon Jr. was signed. I don't think he's that good. Greg Van Roten's not good, but it will be better than it was last year. I will say that. It still could be a train wreck, especially in the interior. So if they play against teams with great interior pass rush, like there could be a lot of trouble. But as far as the edge rush is concerned, like they should be able to handle that. So yeah, I think the Giants will be better than they were last year. I think. Now I still think they're going to be horrible, but they won't be. I don't think they're going to be the worst team in the NFL anymore, or second worst team. Like they'll be maybe 5th worst team in the NFL. Just not great, but like they'll win like one more game than they won last year. I don't know, maybe 2 more. Sam Darnold back at MetLife. Yes.
True.
Yes, is great days. He gets to relive them.
That's also where he was seeing ghosts, right? Or was that in New England? Remember he said that? He's like, I was seeing ghosts out there. They played New
Yes.
England through like 4 interceptions or something.
Yeah, I don't know where that game was, but no, he said it was against Belichick. I know the specific game you're talking about is the Monday night game.
I believe
But
it was 2019.
yeah, I don't know where that game was exactly, but it was against Belichick, and he always saw a ghost against Belichick. So wasn't it the Black Cat game too, where like Black Cat like walked onto the field, and then Sam Darnold said he saw ghosts. It was like, what was that?
Wait, you're saying it was the same game? I don't know if it was.
I don't know if it's the same game. I feel like those two memories are like intertwined in my head for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
I just don't know. I could be off. I could be off. I don't know. Vikings get a defensive touchdown. It is possible. Michael says, "Yeah, I got signed off physio recently. Back at the gym. Nice. That's awesome, Michael. Glad to hear it. All right. Let's get to some games we like. I know this one. Panthers at the Saints. Saints are favored by 4. I think the wrong team's favored here. I think the Panthers are the better team. People don't realize it because they're used to seeing the Panthers being horrible. Like they were the worst team in the NFL last year, and that's not going to be the case. They upgrade the offensive line with Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis. They got receivers who can actually get open, and Deontay Johnson and maybe Xavier Legette, and Dave Canales is going to be able to coach up Bryce Young. Now they lost Brian Burns, but I like them adding Josie Jewell to the linebacking core. And the Saints really don't have much going on. They're not going to be able to block at all. They might have the worst offensive line in the NFL. If not, it might be the Patriots, but they're at least the worst in the NFC. And this the Saints team being favored by more than 3 is just horrible. Like you just can't have that. Dennis Allen as a favorite of just as a favorite, 7-15 against the spread in his career. Derek Carr is a favorite of 3.5 or more, is 9-19 against the spread in his career.
Wow.
So these are guys you want to fade when they're favored by more than a field goal, and we get to do that here with an underrated Carolina team. I love the Panthers, and I'm curious if you still love the Panthers as well.
Panthers +4. Give me the Panthers money line, baby.
Okay, nice.
I'm all over it. Well, no, we've talked about it before during our bantering sessions in the off season that we've considered. I don't know if you took it. I haven't yet, but I am still thinking about what were they, like 9-1 to win the division?
I found 12-1.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was that high. Jeez, maybe I should get on that. Look, they don't really have anywhere to go but up. Like, right. They made some nice sign. Like and think about like those offensive line pickups that they made. That's like, remember that Seattle game last year? They had like 9 false starts or something, and like they almost covered that game with all that. Like those pickups like that are going to make them even better. And then they got Deontay Johnson, right? Like, and I just think like, yeah, Bryce Young, he sucks. Yeah, you know what? Jared Goff sucked his first year. You know, and I'm not saying Jared
Goff, by the way, was historically bad. Like if you look at the metrics in his rookie year, like he was one of the worst rookie quarterbacks of all time.
Yeah. So, I mean, am I saying that I think Bryce Young is going to, like, all of a sudden, like, his star is on the rise, like, based on nothing? No. But, I mean, I just feel – and look, down the stretch at the end of the season, they were playing better. I mean, they're still really bad, but you could definitely see they're improving. They played a close game against Green Bay. There you go. That helps for – like, Green Bay only beat Carolina by 3, like, 3 weeks prior, making the playoffs. So, anyhow, we'll table that for later. But, you know, like I think I just feel like the Panthers are like it can only go up. Yeah. You know, in all likelihood. I really love them in the spot. I think the Saints are the poster child for mediocrity. At best, really. I really like the Panthers. I think they could win outright.
Yeah, I will be betting the money line as well. John says this is a game after the first quarter. You're like, how in the world did I bet the Panthers? Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I like I said, I think they're going to be better. I've been wrong about teams before, but I think the Saints are worse than the Panthers. So, Matthias says I like the Saints here. I'd love to know why. I can't foresee an argument about the Saints. I think they are one of the worst teams in the NFL. They are worse than the Panthers, so I don't get it.
I say Panthers are like my second favorite pick of this week.
Okay. I think they're my third favorite. So yeah, we're on the same page. So, Michael says that Saints team needs to completely blow up rather than try to convince themselves they are anything but mediocre every year post Breeze. Yeah, I completely agree with that. Slew has a theory that they just don't want to go back to the Aints like that
Yeah,
horrible team
yeah.
where they used to wear the paper bags over their heads.
I remember that.
So I think that like maybe ownership's just like, hey, just make sure we're not awful, which is just going to hurt them long term. So I agree. I think they should blow it up. There's some good quarterbacks coming out. Shador Sanders next year. Then you have Arch Manning in 2026. You have a chance to get some really good quarterbacks here. And Derek Carr is not the answer. Not at all.
Maybe they'll draft General Booty.
General Booty.
Anyhow, wait, no, what was his brother was John David Booty.
Booty.
Yeah, he was at a California school, was he not? Wasn't it like Stanford or UC? No.
USC, yeah.
USC, okay. Yeah, Booty. Yeah, I think his brother's name was General Booty.
General Booty. Did you see that there's a player on I forget what team it was. His last name is Carson-Wentz.
Wait, it's a real player?
Yeah. You didn't see that?
I didn't. Are you being serious?
Yeah.
Is his last name Carson? I didn't.
His last name is Carson Wentz. Yeah.
Spelled the same, like W-E-N-T.
Yeah. Yes.
Wait, who does he play? How is this like a well-known player? How did I not know this?
It was Butters brought it to my attention. Well, first of all, he sent me the picture via text, and then he brought it up on the show last night. He plays for Michigan State. His name is Jack Carson Wentz.
I don't know why I find it that funny.
Yeah,
I guess I'm a little punchy, but it's so strange.
Jack Carson Wentz.
Anyhow, let's try to move on here. Sorry,
right.
that's good.
All right, Mathan's argument. I think Derek Carr mustereds up a win. That's all I got. I would be rolling the dice with the Saints as a survivor pick, knowing full well what you said couldn't happen. Oh man, that's
oh no,
it's a rough way to lose it.
I mean, do whatever you want, of course, Mathiasen, but I would. Anything can happen, but I really love the Panthers. Yeah. I really love the Panthers.
Michael says that they lose this game, Allen and Carr will immediately be under pressure. Surely, at least Dennis Allen, who was a joke of a hire. And I mean, it depends on how bad Carr plays. He could have an okay game and still lose. So it really depends. Josh Booty played QB for LSU. Yeah, John David Booty and Josh Booty. And now you have General Booty. Not a lot of booties out there.
Remember when it was the year the Bucs won the Super Bowl with Brady and they played the Saints? Freaking Jameis Winston comes in for one play for the Saints and throws a touchdown pass against this whole team. I fell out of my chair laughing when that happened. All the freaking grief he gave Tampa Bay, and he throws a freaking touchdown pass against them in the play. I mean, they just still won, but I thought that was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in sports. I don't know why. It really just got me right. But anyhow.
All right. Next game, Patriots at the Bengals. Talk about 180s. I did a complete 180 on this game. I was concerned about the Bengals during the summer. The last time we spoke in July, I was considering Patriots. So you said Patriots money line, perhaps, and I thought maybe that's not such a bad idea. Now I like the Bengals quite a bit, and they may make my card. I think the Patriots are just going to be completely dysfunctional this year. I don't think they're going to be able to block. Their offensive line is so bad. Did you see that final preseason game? It was on Sunday Night Football. Okay, so they played the starters minus their center, and they played against the Redskins backups. They couldn't block the Redskins backups, and they committed in the first half. The offensive line alone committed 8 penalties, and it got so bad that the official said illegal formation once again on the offense. He announced once again. Wow. Yeah. It was that bad. So you don't want to react to one thing, but this is a game against backups, and they couldn't move the ball. The receivers suck. I don't think Gerard Mayo knows what he's doing. Their defense lost, and this is the big thing. Defense lost Matthew Judon, one of their best players, if not their best player. He's gone. They traded him. And Christian Barmore, their other best defensive lineman, he's out. He has blood clots in his lungs, and hopefully he gets better. But he's out too. So you have 2 key missing pieces on the defense that was supposed to be good, and now it's not going to be good anymore. So it's like, what can this team do exactly? Like, they were not good last year, and that with the best coach of our era. So he's gone, and they have a rookie coach plus rookie quarterback. Basically, Brissett basically a rookie on this team. And they're playing against the Bengals, who, they've gotten off to bad starts before, and that was our argument against them. But I don't know. I think that given that they've been off to bad starts, I think they might see that as motivation and try to focus on improving. It's not a long track record. It's just 4 seasons with Joe Burrow with these slow starts. And like, kind of look at, like, you kind of have to, like, forgive him for last year because he was playing hurt last year. So I'm not going to put too much stock into that. And yeah, they lost to the Steelers. Everyone remembers that game, but that Steelers team was good with TJ Watt, sorry, with TJ Watt. And TJ Watt had a monster game in that game. Remember that was the year the Steelers were they like 7-2 with Watt and like 1-8 with Adam, some number like that. And so they had Watt in that game. So I don't know if I want to read too much into it. Now, this is not like one of my top plays. This is like either 5 or 6 for me in the contest, so it may not make the cut. But I'm feeling way more comfortable with the Bengals, even if Jamar Chase doesn't play. I don't think they need him in this game, but he has been practicing, so it's a good sign. So Bengals for me, survivor pick for sure, and I'm teasing them from 8.5 down to 2.5 with the Giants. So what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, originally I thought that this could be a spot where New England could pull, like, maybe keep it close, or just mostly based on the slow starts that the Bengals often get off to start the season. But I'll tell you what, this is what I really like. I like Patriots defense or special teams anytime touchdown, and here's why. Because like I think if they're going to score, like, they have nothing to lose. Like they're really bad. We know that. Like, I think they're going to be the worst team in the league. They're going to have to do something crazy is going to have to happen if they're going to score, I feel like. And I feel like, brand new, they're going to come out fire, like everyone thinks they're going to lose. They might try something crazy. Mm-hmm. I could see something like that happening. I really like Patriots defense or special teams touchdowns. Like, I think they could run like a, maybe go for like a fake field goal or something like that. So I bet it'll be decent odds too.
Okay. But I don't know what it is, but that's a good thought.
The last time I thought that was remember when they played the Packers? They were +9 against the Packers 2 years ago. Rodgers last year there. Yeah, and we put them on the card, and they lost by 3 in overtime. So they did cover, but I put $25 on Patriots defense and special teams to score a touchdown, and it was 10-1. I couldn't believe it was that high, and because I was like, I know, like, if they're going to win, because Zappy was starting, remember, in Lambeau. It's like everyone. No,
it was. I think, wasn't it? It was Hoyer.
No, Hoyer,
and then Zappy came in.
Injured. You're right. Yeah. And then, but yeah, like right at the end of the first half, Rodgers threw a pick 6. But I thought the same thing. I was like, if the Patriots are going to stay in that, like, they're something crazy is going to happen, or they're going to have to pull like some weird trick play. I feel the same way here. So. I was just like thinking about it like an hour before. I haven't even seen. I'm limited to Hard Rock, so I can't see they usually don't put those props up till later.
Okay.
But I like that. I probably won't touch this. But now that you told me about that last preseason game of theirs, maybe I'll be on board with the Bengals with it. You might be able to talk me into it. But.
Yeah, it was basically like a comedy show. It's just how bad it was. And like I said, I don't want to overreact to bad preseason performances. The Giants look dreadful in theirs, but I think this seems more real to me. Like I thought the Patriots were going to be dreadful already, and like it just further evidence that they will be. I think Gerard Mayo just might be a disaster as a head coach.
Imagine if somehow, some way the Patriots do win. It's going to, like, what percent of like any given survivor pool do you think that will knock out? Like, I'm going to say, and I think this is a conservative estimate, 65%.
Oh, that's a big number. I don't know if I agree with that. I think I was going to say like 30%.
Really? Well,
there are a lot of teams. There are a lot of teams people can pick.
Really? I feel like this could be a little bit tougher. I could make arguments. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not very good at Survivor.
Well, I am in I'm in a Survivor pool. It's a $50 pool on BetUS. And they have a bunch of pools here. So they have like a $100 pool, $200 pool, etc. Let me see. So I can tell you right now, As of right now, there are 284 people in the poll. 123 of them have picked the Bengals. So that's 43%.
Out of how many?
Out of 284. So 123 out of 284 is 43%.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm still very high. I guess that shows you what I know.
So after the Bengals 123, there were 36 who picked the Saints, 29 who picked the Bills, 28 who picked the Seahawks, and then 12 and 12 for the Bears and Bucks. Those are the only double digit ones left.
The Saints were the next highest pick.
Yeah.
There are gonna be some people upset after that one.
I know.
I mean, there's a good. I definitely think the Panthers could win. So anyhow.
Yeah. By the way, one brave soul picked the Ravens. So rest in peace.
Rest in peace. That's too bad.
Yeah, why would you take the Ravens? Why would you take the Ravens as survivor? You could pick them in like so many better spots. It just doesn't make sense.
I know, especially because they're a team that's like going to do. It's probably going to win a lot of games, you know.
Right. It's not like you're fading the field either. Like it makes more sense to take the Patriots because you like those people lose and you get to move on. But I don't know. It's dumb.
Yeah, like I'll tell you, like if you were trying to be like super contrarian, like take the Panthers. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like in Survivor. Like I think that would be like super. Like chances are you're not going to use the Panthers down the line. I mean, would that really give you a huge advantage if that worked out? I mean, like maybe for 1 week, like with like if like Kansas City's off the board with everybody and you still have them, or
No, because the problem, like people always want to save teams. The problem is that if you say, let's say for example, you save Kansas City, well, what if Mahomes gets hurt and then you can't use him? I think it's a mistake to do that. Something I do on the site, I follow what Whistles Go Woo does. I don't know if you've ever heard of that guy. He's one of the better DFS players in the world. He's a professor at like I'm gonna say UConn or UMass or some school in the Northeast. He actually wrote a long essay on how to game theory Survivor. And what he likes to do, and I now follow this, like he likes to game plan 9 weeks in advance. So to start the year, he'll go weeks 1 through 9, and he'll be like, okay, I'm taking this team week 1, this team week 2, this team week 3, etc. And he just goes to week 9, and then the next week he reevaluates. So instead of 1 to 9, he goes 2 to 10, and he's like, okay, fresh slate. I already took team 1. So team week 2, I'm taking this team, week 3, I'm taking this team, etc. And then each week he keeps going and going with this 9-week formula.
Wow.
And he said that, he likes to do that because it's enough in advance to prepare, but he doesn't like to go the full season just because it's so hard to predict injuries in advance and stuff. Right. And you don't know how teams are going to do so far in the future. So I've adopted that theory that he does. So I actually do that on the site. I have a 9-week plan on the site, on the Survivor Picks page.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll definitely check that out. Maybe I'll try that in my own contest too.
Yeah. And by the way, we have a free Survivor pool on the site, so it's free to enter. $350 to first place. So make sure you guys enter that. Also, I got word today that we're going to have a contest that's only for premium members. You're basically going to be picking against me. My developer said he's going to have it up by around the week 3. So we'll see around then. So maybe week 2 or week 4. So it's just look for that. I'll have announcements for it as well. So
cool. I'll look forward to that.
Yeah, that would be fun. Okay, so John says they're around 45% of my league. Yeah, 43% seems about right. Perfect said Shed Ninja says, are you panicking on Mark Andrews? I'm not yet. I did get him in one best ball, one of my 4, but I think he's going to get better as the season progresses. Like he looked a little decrepit tonight. It was weird, but now he gets like 9 days off. That'll be nice for him. I think he's just going to get more. He's going to get stronger as the year progresses. I don't think he's going to be bad all year. So I would hold on to him. I wouldn't look to trade him or drop him. John says I drafted likely late and will trade him for Andrews. I think that's pretty smart. Cassandra says Gerard Mayo will be a disaster of a head coach. Wow. There you go.
With certainty.
Yeah, and Baggett says, I found that Survivor article super interesting read. Yeah, it was super smart. I listened to him on he was a guest on one of the Awesemo shows, and he's like a genius. So it's great to listen to the smart people in the field.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next game, Titans and Bears. I hope you still like this one. I still do. This is my number 2 pick of the week. I think the Bears are an overhyped team. Everyone thinks they're going to make the playoffs because they have Caleb Williams now, but USC with Caleb Williams last year was not even a top 5 team in the conference. This Bears team has some problems, like defensively. Outside of Montez Sweat, they can't rush the passer. Outside of Jalen Johnson, I worry about the secondary. I have some concern with their offensive line. Williams against the Tennessee defense, I think could be top 5. It just could be problematic here. And I think Tennessee is super underrated. I like the Titans. I think they can win outright. So are you still high on the Titans?
I am. I'm surprised that the only thing that has me ever so slightly hesitant about Tennessee is the fact that they're a public dog. I was kind of surprised to see that, because I think the public kind of think, especially, they don't have Derrick Henry anymore. It's like Spears did just fine, too, and they have Pollard, who I think, they're going to fill in just fine. They have Calvin Ridley. Obviously, that was a good pickup. I forgot they got Tyler Boyd, too, who I always thought was like a decent wide receiver 3. He was kind of overshadowed by Chase and Higgins in Cincinnati, but he's had a couple thousand-yard he's probably past his prime at this point, but I think he's been in the league like 8 years. But I think that they're, I think they could win this game outright, too. I just kind of don't. The only thing that concerns me is the fact that they're a public dog. I'm surprised to see that. I thought the money would be on the Bears.
I think it's sharp. I think this is sharp money, not public money, because it's driving the line down, and there's not there's not a public sharp dichotomy like there is in Steelers-Falcons or like there was tonight in Chiefs-Ravens. Like it's 61% of action on the Titans and 63% of the money on the Titans. So there's more money than bets on the Titans, which says to me that this is at least some sharp money. That could be a little public money, a little sharp money, but it's not like 61%. I wouldn't sweat. I don't think that's a concern. It's not like 70% with the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean that's really the only thing. I think this might make our card.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the only, and it's weird. I can't remember a week actually. I mean, maybe there has been, but not one that comes to mind. Where there's been so many public dogs. Usually I don't like that. So that's I was interested to see that this week. I think there's we got a couple more coming up here too.
Yeah, well, like I said, I don't think this is necessarily one of them. Public dogs this week include the Packers, Ravens, Steelers, and there aren't that many other significant ones that I'm seeing.
I love to hear the money's on the Packers.
The Rams are one of them, and Broncos. So yeah, we'll be talking about them. Anyway, what'd you say? You'd love to hear what?
I love to hear that the money's on the Packers. That makes me feel even better. I love going against the grain. I mean, we both do. But
oh yeah,
I learned it from you. So
yeah, no, it is nice to be contrarian.
Yeah, we both are. I would consider myself bordering upon rather contrarian. Yeah. I would say. Is that something you might agree with? I don't know. It comes pretty easily. I don't know, being contrarian with picks and stuff, but I mean sometimes it can be to my detriment, of course, too. But most of the time, that's something I learned from you. It's so natural now to go against the grain in situations like those. But
yeah, you know what? I feel like I was always that way. I remember in 4th grade math, there's this one problem this teacher put on the board, and she's like, for some reason, she's like, everyone who thinks the answer is A, stand on this side of the room. Everyone who thinks the answer is B, stand on this side of the room. And I remember everyone rushed to A, and I was my best friend at the time. He was a smart guy, and we were both we stood on B, and then he saw everyone go to A, and he went over to the A side, and I'm like, and I was the only one left on the B side. I was like, I think this is B. And she's like, Walter, you're right. I'm like, yes.
That's a really good story, man. There's a psychology term to that where they did these these experiments where like a few people were in on it, and they'd be like, okay, like what's the answer to the question? Like the person would be like the last person out of like 8 or 10 people to give the answer, and all like 9 people would give one answer, and then even though it's obviously the other answer, they would be like, oh wait, like is something wrong? Like why do all these people? So that they would be inclined to pick the wrong answer just because everybody else had. I can't remember what it was. The Ashton form. That I mean, it sounds like, I mean, the way you said it so confidently there, Bagley. I would, that sounds right, but I don't know if it is right. But you said it so confidently, I think that maybe you probably are.
There's one study done where like people are in a waiting room and like they're all in on it except for the one person that comes in, and they're like I forget what it was. It's like a bell chimes and everyone stands up like when the bell chimes, and then they sit down, and like the person's like what, like he just looks around, and then they do it again and again, and like now he starts standing up, and like one by one they take a person out and they put a new person in, and like all like by the time they cycle through, it's all like no one's in on it anymore. It's all people that they've added, and they all stand up when the bell goes off. Like not one of them even questioning like what's going on.
Dude, that's awesome. You have a video of that?
I heard about it.
What would I Google? Doctor's office reception psychology trick, maybe?
I don't know. I heard that story. I think Tim Pool talked about it on Timcast IRL. But I found that kind of stuff pretty funny.
That's freaking hilarious.
I'm like as we're talking about Contrarian, I'd be like, dude, what are you guys doing? I'd be like, I would not do that. So anyway, Tyler Boyd broke the drought for us hapless Bills fans. My Dolphin Fin says, does Denver have a decent offensive line? I feel like Seattle's defensive line, Mike McDonald about to cook the rookie quarterback on the road. It's okay. Their offensive line's okay. Like Garrett Bowles is either like great or terrible, like depending on the week. I don't know like what his deal is. Mike McGlinchey didn't quite live up to hype last year, but he could improve. They have a new center, so you have to worry about that. The interior is not great. Quinn Miners could be pretty decent, but he's still a young player. I'd say overall, the offensive line just it's not bad. But it's not great. I mean, Miners I think is kind of like the real star on that offensive line. And like I said, Bowles is either awesome or terrible. And then Ben Powers, he was signed over recently, and he's disappointed. He's the other guard. It feels like 3/5 of their offensive line could be good, but it really depends on there's McGlinchey rebound, there's Powers rebound. I don't know. I feel like it could go either way with Denver's offensive line. So yeah, and plus Seattle's missing Uchenna Nwosu, who is just he made a huge difference last year. His absence, like remember early in the year, Seattle's defense was awesome, and then like they couldn't stop anyone. Like that was Nwosu going out, and then Seattle couldn't stop the run at all. So Nwosu being out again, that could be problematic. Although I mean McDonald is is a great defensive minded guy, so could make up for it for sure. Brandon says Baltimore Ravens lose. That's a good one.
Very
nice.
Very clever, Brandon.
Yeah. Flames Nation says great content. Thank you so much.
Flames Nation.
Thank you, Flames Nation. Really appreciate it. All right, let's get to game 9 here. Cardinals at the Bills. This is my top play of the week. I love the Cardinals. The Bills are a team that's, I think, overrated. They have a brand new receiving core. Now, it helps that Curtis Samuel is going to play. That might take me off my pick of the month. When I wrote up the write-up, I thought Samuel was going to be out, but he's been practicing fully, so I assume that he's going to be in the lineup. So at least, like, he's a viable, veteran receiver that they have, because if they didn't have him, it was just going to be Khalil Shakir and rookie Keon Coleman and just, like, MVS, I guess, the corpse of MVS. They would have nothing else. Dalton Kincaid's great and everything, but to beat Arizona, you have to attack their secondary. Just the cornerbacks are awful, and I don't think the Bills could do that even with Samuel. Like, I don't think that's a big edge. Arizona is an underrated team. Last year, when they got Kyler Murray back, they went into Houston. They only lost by 5. That was Murray's first game back. Then they went into Pittsburgh. They destroyed the Steelers. They went into Philadelphia as double-digit underdogs. They won outright. This team was really good down the stretch for the most part. They had a couple of ugly games, but for the most part, they were great. And now they have Marvin Harrison Jr. Murray's going to be more removed for that torn ACL. I love their offensive line. And then Buffalo's missing Matt Milano. Just a huge difference. Buffalo, the middle of Buffalo's defense is just going to be awful this year. I feel like Trey McBride could have a big game. James Conner, talked about him earlier. And then the last caveat is that the Bills play in 4 days against the Dolphins. So, like, are they really going to be focused as on almost touchdown favorite against Arizona, like a team that they don't know? They don't see this team they see this team once every 4 years. The last time, by the way, was that Hopkins touchdown, that Hail Murray touchdown. That was the last time they played the Cardinals. So, like, they barely see this team, and they have a much more important game in 4 days. So they have to focus on Miami. So I love Arizona. I think they're going outright. Like I said, Curtis Samuel spoils this a little bit for me, but I'm still 5+ units on Arizona. So what are your thoughts here?
I really like Arizona too, but I do have some concerns, which I'll express to you here shortly. But I was looking at Buffalo's depth chart. I was like, who is this team? Like, where'd all the good players go? But in that which I think helps solidify my feeling and yours on Arizona, because it's like, I think they're kind of living off reputation. Like, I was looking at their depth chart today and I was like, wait a second, like, I didn't realize like who's on this team, like their offense, like I didn't recognize like half the names, not literally, but you know what I'm getting at. And I just think, especially with, I like the look ahead angle that with when they play Miami on next Thursday, right? Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously they're going to, there's a good chance they could be looking ahead to that. My only hesitation, I don't put as much stock into this next part and I know you don't as much as I used to, but interconference on the road. I don't know why. Like, this is just from the eye test, and we could probably pull up stats that prove me wrong. But like, I feel like those are tough games.
So interconference on the road.
Yeah, I always feel like those like tend to be like tougher games. But I also don't like that they're public, because the public's on Arizona, right? I was surprised to see that, and that kind of just playing devil's advocate here a little bit, because I really do like Arizona. But that's sharp money. It's 58% of bets and 65% money, and so there's more money than bets. So that means that's sharp money. Okay.
So non-conference on the road. Let's do since the lockout. Let's
watch me be way off. Like, it's like, I swear, like I must see like if I'm wrong, I must see like the most like random like just like groupings of games where like these things that I think, like, remember the 3.5, 2.5 that I thought that like 3.5 the favorite would cover more and 2.5 the dog would cover more, and then like the stats are like, no, it's not true. But like, I feel like that always happens like when I'm looking out for it. So I don't know. I've lost my mind.
All right. So since the lockout and since 2011, non-conference teams on the road are 1,722 and 1,653 against the spread. That's 51%.
Okay, so no real advantage. I mean, it's essentially a coin flip.
Yes.
I mean, I'm kind of surprised. I guess it's just, maybe I just see the games where that happens. I don't know.
Yeah, John Sanders 411 super chat. Thank you so much, John. Really appreciate it. It says Bills get revenge for the Hail Murray game. I just brought that up. So yeah, that was the last time they played. It was in Arizona, and now it's in Buffalo. So yeah, Bills can get revenge, but will they cover? That's the important thing. As they say, good teams win, great teams cover. So are the Bills a great team? I don't think so. Maybe late in the year. This is a Bills team that I think is going to be a lot better in the second half of the year. I think they're going to have to gel with this new receiving core and then get Matt Milano back from injury.
I think this is, and I think, evidenced by the fact that like I looked at their depth chart today, I was kind of like, I didn't realize like who's on this team.
Yeah.
So I think like the casual person is just like oh, like the Bills, like they're always really good.
Yeah, and people think Arizona sucks. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Would you start Marvin Harrison Jr. in fantasy?
Yeah, I would. The Bills don't have a scary secondary at all. I think he's gonna be a stud. I would start both him and Neighbors this week. Brian Thomas, if Jalen Ramsey's out, I would start him. I would even start Adonai Mitchell, the Colts' second round pick. He's going to be in the slot with Josh Downs out. So there's 4 rookie receivers I would start at least worthy tonight. So that would make 5. I don't know about anyone else.
Would you put Marvin Harrison Jr. and McBride in the same lineup?
On DraftKings? If I was playing Murray, yes. If I was not playing Murray, then no. I think you have to stack them. You have to worry about negative correlation if you don't. But like they can correlate fine together if Murray's tied to them. But I was saying yesterday, like if you're playing single entry, like you almost have to play Anthony Richardson at 6,300. But if you're playing in the millie, which is like a million people in it, then you kind of have to be creative. And if everyone's playing Richardson in the millie, then just go to Murray plus Harrison plus McBride. I think that's a good strategy.
Good to know.
But
I think the Cardinals. Sorry to wrap up.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I was talking or if I was finished. I don't know which way's up. but I know. But I think Cardinals are probably going to make her card too.
Okay. Sue says Bills are going to regret cutting Claypool.
Oh, I know.
We got MVS. Oh, crap.
Yeah, hey, hang on. Yeah, I forgot to address that. Thank you, John, for bringing that up. Don't be hating on MVS, man. He's going to come back, and you're going to be I liked him in Green Bay, man. He was a good deep threat. Like I feel like he's underutilized. Dude, watch MVS have like 2 touchdowns and 150 yards or something.
I know.
Then I'd come back and I'd rub it right in your face, He's
not going to do that. You don't know how many people recommended like MVS to me. Like it feels like everyone I talk to, like about fantasy, or they look at like DraftKings. Like Alex did this last night about her, like, but it was like everyone has been this way. Like they're like, oh, MVS, he's kind of interesting. Like everyone says that to me. You know what it reminds me of is like if you're single and like your parents like they try to say, oh, some girls like, oh, what about Dorothy over here? Why don't you date her? And it's like, well, she's a burn victim. She's 500 pounds. She has 3 toes. I don't know. I feel like I could do better than Dorothy here. Yeah. So I feel like I could do better than MVS.
That Swanson girl is really nice, or like whatever the freaking name is.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean. Hey, you mean to tell me other people other than me are talking about MVS? I won't have it.
Everyone has been talking about MVS.
What do you mean everyone? How many people?
We had the show last night. MVS was brought up.
That's not everyone.
I think Kenny mentioned MVS as well. I think.
I'll have to have a talk with Kenny.
Well, and when I say everyone, I don't talk to that many people, so it's a small number.
It's like 20% of our circles, right?
And plus the chat always brings up MVS too. Like
right. I started it. I had my nose in it from jump, man.
Yes.
With MVS. That's the secret weapon. That's the fantasy secret weapon, man. You get him on the right day. Oh. The other teams are cooked, bro.
It's like 5 years ago. What is it? When's the last time you did anything?
No, he caught some.
He caught some passes.
Remember the NFC Championship game against the Buccaneers? He caught that. It was like a 70-yard bomb for a touchdown. I was like, hey.
Yeah, I remember NFC Championship. I remember MBS catching passes. He's the ultimate member berry guy. I joke about it with Henry, but the MBS is the member berry guy.
Dude, one day I can't wait. He's gonna have a breakout game. He's gonna have his coming out party. One game, he's gonna have like 200 yards and like 2 touchdowns. I'm gonna be like, oh,
yeah, like the CFL for Calgary.
I mean, no, like think about this. Let's say he has one game where it's like I don't know, like a touchdown and 150 yards. Would you say like, and he's going to be priced really low? Like, okay, so here's the strategy. If you think he's going to have one game like that, put him in one lineup every week, and your lineup is probably like chances are it's going to be pretty good. Oh, put him in like 3 lineups, and when that day hits, like you could hit the million, man, and then you'll be thanking me.
We have to get everything else right too, But I don't like. Is he going to get 150 yards for the whole year?
Well, that Bills roster looks pretty thin, man. I don't know. Maybe
he had 315 yards last year.
Wait, how much did he have?
He had 315 yards last year.
Nice, bro.
It's so bad.
Maybe.
What is the most yardage he had in the game last year? I don't know. I'm actually looking it up right now.
I want to say like he had like a 60-yarder and a touchdown.
He had one game where he had 84 yards. It was 3 catches, 84 yards, and a touchdown against the Chargers. Outside of that, let me read you his yardage totals: 48, 13, 37, 6, 12, 0, 84, 27, 22, 0, -1, 25, 22, 17, 0, 3.
How does -1 happen?
Yeah, I don't know. 8. This is playoffs now. 8, 62, 38, and 20. He didn't go over 100 last year with Mahomes at all.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, yeah, just you wait. You'll be in the $1 million contest, and you'll have MVS when he goes off for 85 yards and a touchdown, and it'll be like 0.5% owned. And you'll be like, "Wow, thanks, Quacky. You should get some of the money I received."
But it's the whole Dorothy analogy. There are better options out there. Like there are going to be 3K guys you could find who are better than MVS. Like so, just look for them.
Dude, imagine Taysom Hill and MVS went off in the same week. Oh my god, dude, you'd be rich. Just see if it happens.
Like Taysom Hill is like worthless too, because like you have Evan Ingram who gets like 20 plus. Likely tonight you got like 20 whatever. And then you have like McBride, you have Kincaid, you have Laporta, and these guys. The problem with Taysom Hill is just he's too expensive, like for what he does. Like if he was 3K, you'd be like, okay, let me take shots on him. But he's always priced at like 45, 47. So it's just way too tough to play him.
Yeah. All right, I'll cut out my nonsense. We can move on to the next game.
All right. Well, I want to touch on this. John says we didn't have Milano last year either, which is true. However, the Bills did have Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis, if you want to count Gabe Davis, but still Stephon Diggs. Like they had a better offense to negate the worst defense without Milano. But like now they don't have that, so they had to lead more on the defense this year, and now they can't without Milano. So it's like that's the issue. Sue says this game reminds me of Broncos beating Bills last year, deja vu all over again. I think that's a good comparison. I compared it to Tampa, Minnesota last year, week 1, where we had Tampa for about the same. It was like 6 or 6.5, and Minnesota was the overrated team at home with a look ahead. By the way, they had the same Thursday look ahead. They had the Eagles coming up on Thursday night. And Minnesota was so discombobulated in that game. They made a lot of errors. Kirk Cousins, he like fumbled the snap. He had another fumble. I think he threw like a sloppy interception. Just the Vikings did not look like they were focused against the Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers won outright. And I think the same thing is going to happen this week. I think Arizona wins outright. So
really.
I think
wow, okay.
I think Arizona wins outright. Yeah.
All right, I'm in. Baby.
Or like if it's Buffalo win, it's like 24-23, like super close.
Okay.
John says MVS shows up for the playoffs. At least Bills could learn from him.
Yeah, Walter could learn from him too. Put him in your team, man.
Baltimore Ravens, yes.
Yeah,
it was nice. Yeah, it was a nice way to start the year. All right, last early game, Texans at the Colts. You said to me in a text you like the Colts because I'm all ears here. I think the Texans might be the right side. They're getting sharp money their way. The line is up to 3, if I'm not mistaken. In the contest, at least, it's still 2.5. But I think in real life, I'm checking right now. It's moved to 3 in some books, so it's like 3 minus 105 at DraftKings and Caesars. So it appears to be moving that way. I just think that the Texans they just might have that like secret sauce with CJ Stroud, who might be a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. By the end of the year, we might recognize that. It could be like Mahomes, Burrow, Stroud. I think could be the trio, and I think that Stroud just might be one of those quarterbacks who has a great spread record. And like if you go back to like Mahomes or Brady, I don't want to mention Brady because he's the all-time, but if you go back to Mahomes, you go back to Aaron Rodgers, go back to Joe Burrow, all these guys have winning records against the spread. So if you blindly bet them, you would be profitable, especially if you're avoiding the games where they're super high favorites. And I think Stroud just might be that way. It just might be Stroud just finds a way to win by 3, like in a tough game. Like he might be down the whole game and he just leads to come back and wins. Like I could see that happening. So I don't really want to bet this game. If I were to bet this game at all, it would be Colts plus 8.5 on a teaser, but I'd rather have the Giants plus 7.5 on the teaser. So if you think highly of the Colts, I'm all yours. So take it away.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, the Texans, they have Joe Mixon and Diggs and Tank Dell and CJ Stroud. I don't know, man. This game just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I mean, like the Texans just seem so easy, and I want to, obviously, like the Texans picked up some, what someone considered to be some pretty major pieces, with Mixon and Diggs in particular, but. I don't know. Like, do I have a leg to stand on if I make the argument that, well, the Colts were a drop pass away from, essentially like having a shot at knocking them out of the playoffs, and then our opinion of them is maybe very different. Maybe not very different, but somewhat different than they were if they didn't, make it to the playoffs and win a playoff game. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. It just the Texans seem so easy here. Like, I do think they're the right side, but like something is just. Maybe it's just because I think the Colts are going to exceed expectations this year. I'll say that.
Okay. Yeah. I like the Colts. That's why I'm not betting this game. Is I want to bet on both teams, in favorable spots, but it sucks that they're playing against each other this week. Yeah. So not that we're starving for bets to make. Like there are plenty of good games on the board, but
speak for yourself. No, I'm just kidding.
No. You were talking about how this is a little too easy. I don't know. I mean, the public is pretty 50-50 on this game, whereas like the Sharps are really driving the spread up to Houston's favor. Like the Sharps have moved this to 3. Like that's a huge deal. So it might be, maybe it seems too easy just because we have like knowledge that the Joe Public doesn't. Like maybe Joe Public doesn't believe Houston, whereas like the people in the know like realize how good Houston could be. So. Right.
I mean, because the Texans, I mean, you know how I am. I usually, if it seems too good to be true, I'm a little hesitant, but yeah, which I feel like is the case here. But I don't know. I'll probably stay away from it. But if I had to take it, I think I would try out the Colts if I had to.
Okay.
Hey, you know what? Maybe the Texans will win. They'll score a touchdown to go up by 2, and then instead of kicking the extra point they'll just kneel it and then blow the cover. That would
that's too far fetched. That's never happened before.
Yeah, never.
Stop talking nonsense.
Not certainly not to us.
No.
Good God, man.
Man. All right. So it says, are you looking to make money line plays on Panthers, Titans, and or Cardinals, perhaps using the quarter bet of spread method? Yeah, I will be. That's our proxy, Andy, who's been a guest on the show twice, and he said that. Whenever you can't come on, he'll be willing to fill in on Thursday. So, okay. He likes that. He's the one who said that to me. He's been a professional bettor since '91. What he does is like if he bets like for example $400 on the Cardinals, he'll also bet 100 on the Cardinals money line. So that's what he recommended to me, and it makes sense. Daba Dubby says, I traded Rice for McBride and Anthony Richardson before the game in an 8-man. What do we think? It is risky. I mean, if Richardson stays healthy all year, you've definitely won the trade, but you have to worry about the injuries. So I think and plus you have to worry about Rice's possible suspension. I don't think he's going to be suspended this year, but I guess I'd rather have McBride, and Richardson, but like I said,
I think so too.
It's risky though because the Richardson. Well, if he goes down week 2, it's tough with him. All right, let's get to the late games. There are 4 4:00 games. The Raiders at the Chargers is the first one. I locked this in before all the other games when Justin Herbert went down. Just because I thought if Herbert was ruled out, then the Raiders would be favored. So I just wanted to get ahead of that. And it ended up not mattering, but the line is still 3, so it didn't matter at all. So I still like the Raiders. I think they are the better team. I think the Chargers with the new coach are going to have to, even if it's Jim Harbaugh, they're still going to have to figure things out. They want to run the ball. The problem is the Raiders were second against the run last year, so good luck with that. We don't know how the offensive line will gel. This is another team that didn't play at all in the preseason. So, and with the new coach, it just might be some discombobulation. And Herbert has the plantar fascia. Like he's not going to be healthy all year. And that's going to be a problem against this Raiders defense that was 7th last year, and they added Christian Wilkins. So I'm higher on the Raiders than anyone in the world, even Mark Davis. I have the Raiders at 10 wins, which people think is crazy. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I could be wrong again, but I like the Raiders here. Plus there will be way more Raider fans in the stands than Charger fans. The Chargers historically have been horrible at home. It's because they have to go to a silent count at home most of the time, and Raider fans tend to be a little raucous. So they're going to be crazy here. All the fans from Oakland are going to make the short drive to LA. It's going to be flooded with Raider fans. It's going to be nuts. So I like the Raiders. What do you think?
I don't know. This is like the one game I have like no opinion on. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, I like the Raiders, but it seems like such a trap.
Yeah,
it seems like such a trap to me. I don't know. Like the Raiders seem so freaking easy here. And it's just like to me, like I look at the Chargers, especially with Herbert's plantar fasciitis or however you say it. He I don't know. It's like why are they? Wasn't this at 3 okay? It's 3 in the Super Contest too. I thought I saw it at 3.5 at one point, but it's like why? I don't know. Like the Chargers just don't seem outside of some bright spots on defense, like they lost like all their offensive weapons, you know what I mean? And Herbert's not going to be 100%. I just Raiders seem too easy to me, but that's who I would take. But I'm probably not going to touch it. This one kind of puzzles me. I'm often puzzled though.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Next game. Oh, actually, we had a couple comments here. Oh, wait, one comment. Bragley says Rice's court date is in December. I think. Yeah, I saw that as well.
Time for the playoffs. Okay.
Yeah.
That could. Who knows? That could affect it.
Yeah.
Though depending. A lot of times, if that they'll be like, oh, next season start it.
Yeah, I have a feeling it'll be first 6 games of 2025, but we'll see. They will be getting Marquise Brown back too at some point, which is kind of scary that they won tonight without Brown. All right, Redskins at Buccaneers. This line's 3.5. I have no interest in betting this game. It's tough because on one hand you have Redskins who have the rookie coach plus rookie quarterback combination. I know Dan Quinn has coached before, but still, it's his first time in Washington. Still has to learn all the new personnel. And so that is generally a losing proposition in week 1. You generally don't want to bet on rookie coach plus rookie quarterback. So do you go with Tampa? No, because the Buccaneers suck. Like they're a bottom 10 team. They got so lucky in so many wins last year. I think they're going to be a great team to fade for most of the year, but I'm going to wait to do that in week 1. I just don't see a good opportunity to do that here. Week 2, they play in week 2. They play at the Lions in week 2. I will certainly be betting the Lions in week 2. Can't wait for that one. But I'm just going to pass in this game. What any thoughts here?
I'll probably pass on this one too. I'd probably take the Commandos if I had to, but I really don't have any interest in this one either. Though, you know what? Maybe Jaden Daniels comes out and it's like, remember like the first game, CJ Stroud and the Texans, I think they lost like 25-9 or something, but they kept it close against the Ravens in that week 1 game. What if it could be like, and the Ravens obviously were a really good team last year. And like, we don't think, that the Bucs are going to be all that great. I mean, maybe take a chance on the Commandos. Hell. But I'm not going to touch it. But that's what I'd take.
Yeah. So it's a fair point. I mean, this is certainly an easier opponent than Baltimore was last year. So
yeah, I'm not saying that Jaden Daniels is going to be C.J. Stroud, of course. But,
right.
Who knows? I don't know. Like I don't know. Like Tampa's got 3.5. That seems like a lot, but for Tampa, I don't think they're going to be that great. So yeah,
I agree.
But anyway.
All right. So game 3 of the 4 o'clock slate. Broncos at Seahawks. The Sharps have driven this up to 6. The public's on Denver, sharp's on Seattle, so you might want to consider Seattle, but I don't know. I think that Seattle is just not that good of a team, especially without Chen and Nwosu. And so I just have concerns that it's like betting a team in the bottom half of the NFL to win by more than 6, even against a bad team like Denver, it's just a difficult ask. Now, I could be wrong about Seattle. I think they're one of the teams that I just can't get a read on. I have to see how they play in real life. I just don't know how the new coaching staff's going to do. I don't know how the offensive line's going to gel. They lost 3 starters from last year, but then they signed Connor Williams, so that makes me more bullish. So I want to see how that works out. I want to see this new defense, McDonald's new defense in Seattle. I want to see how Geno Smith does without either Dave Canales or Greg Olsen. I think he could decline rapidly. But then again, he has some talented receivers to work with. So just a lot of unknowns here with Seattle. Plus Denver is a big unknown with Bo Nix. I will say though that Sean Payton in weeks 1 or 2 in the past decade is 3-17 against the spread. So, and you might be thinking, things are going to be different in Denver, right? Maybe it was just a New Orleans thing. Well, last year in week 1, they lose to the Raiders at home. Week 2, they lose to the Redskins at home. It's not exactly playing Chiefs Ravens to start the year. Like they had 2 home games against 2 bad teams. And as a bonus, week 3, 70-20. So this is a coach who just sucks to start the year for whatever reason. I know he's a big partier, maybe just doing some partying, heading into the Labor Day and just not focusing. I don't know. I really don't know why he's so bad to start the year. But if historically you want to go Seattle, I just don't know how good Seattle is. But if you want to put Seattle on the card, I'm willing to do it. I don't want to put Denver on the card though. So what do you like here?
I forgot Zach Wilson was 3rd string for the Broncos.
Yeah. They traded him there. So yeah.
You remember when these teams played each other in week 1 a couple years ago? Remember we like Seattle?
Yep.
Because that was Russell Wilson's first game in Denver.
It was the Monday night game, the second Monday night game.
Yeah, I mean, I like Seattle for Survivor. I think they're a decent Survivor choice.
Okay.
I'm really surprised to see. Isn't the money on Denver here? I'm very shocked to see that.
Yeah. Public money in Denver, sharp money in Seattle.
I'm surprised to see that. Yeah, I like the Seahawks here, but I don't know if it's going to make our card.
Okay.
But I don't know. I think they're a decent Survivor pick too. But I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think they're a contrarian. If for some reason if you're not comfortable with the Bengals, I think Seattle's fine. But it's not like just like I said, there's just so many question marks with this team. I just don't know what to make of them.
Right.
But I like I said, I just could be way off on them, and they could be good, or I could be correct and they're just not good. I don't know. I really have to see them play. Although I will say this, right now, at least last night, I don't know if the lines have changed. I actually want to look at this, and as I do, I was going to go to FanDuel, and they're making me verify that I'm human for some reason. Seattle at New England next week. What do you think that spread is? Seattle at New England next week.
Seattle -3.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Oh.
I
do know something.
I think that line sucks. Like, what is that line? Like, New England's terrible. And Seattle might be decent. So if Seattle beats Denver easily, which could happen, and New England looks awful against the Bengals, like that line's not going to be 3. So I am considering putting that in early, which I usually don't do, but I might do that more often. All right, I'm looking at FanDuel. It's 3.5 now. It's moved to 3.5. So I guess people have been betting it. If I can find a 3, I'm gonna bet it early.
Yeah.
But
I like that strategy as well.
Yeah, but not 3.5. Not nearly as appealing. So
right.
So John says the Chiefs might go 17-0. Is that reverse jinx, John?
Yeah.
Jen Daniels, the next RG3. Well, hopefully year 1 as opposed to post torn ACL. And then Sue says the Bill Simmons pyramid has Seahawks in top 10.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he also had the Panthers as a bottom 4 team. He had the Bengals as like a bottom 12 team, and I'm like, what are you smoking here? Bill Simmons, by the way, he both liked my site and then hated it. he linked to it on his article when he used to write for ESPN. When I had the Emmitt Smith quotes, he actually linked to it, and that which was really cool because I used to love Bill Simmons. I used to listen to all of his podcasts. I used to read every article he wrote. Like he's one of the reasons why I became a sports writer. Like he had a big impact on me. But then a couple years after that, for some reason, I don't know if this was like shade that he threw at me, but like he wrote an article heading into season, I think it was like 09 or something, or maybe it was 10, and he said he's like 10 things in decline, and like one of them was websites that have Emmitt Smith quotes. I'm like what did I do to you, Bill? What's going on here?
Wow,
that was like 15 years ago. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think we've been in decline. I don't know.
I wonder. I mean, I feel like there's probably a pretty good chance, but
yeah, I don't. Who knows? Our politics are different. Maybe he was just mad.
Oh, okay, maybe.
Yeah. So yeah, he's one of those LA douches. So which is a shame because I like his writing at least. All right. So last 4:00 game, Cowboys at the Browns. This line's 2.5. So I like the Browns. However, I did see a couple of concerning things on the injury report. Jack Conklin was limited on Wednesday and Thursday, so look out for that. And then Jedrick Wills. So we're talking about both tackles. Jedrick Wills was limited and then DNP on Thursday with a knee. If they're down two tackles against Michael Parsons and the Dallas edge rush, I used to like the Browns. Now I might downgrade this and just not bet it at all. Like if the Browns are missing just a lot of personnel, which is a shame because
really?
I think this would be a great spot otherwise because I think Dallas is super overrated. I think the Browns, if healthy, they have a good advantage here with the running game. And then on the other side with Dallas's offensive line issues, Myles Garrett and company. So this is a great matchup. But if the two Cleveland tackles are out, like no play for at all. So yeah, just this is something I'm going to monitor when the final injury report comes out on Friday. So hopefully we get some clarity and not just like questionable for both. So
yeah, wow, injuries or not, I still really like the Browns here. I'm surprised to hear you say that.
With both tackles out against Parsons, like that's a disaster against Watson.
I don't think that, dude. They got Zeke Elliott back. Like, come on.
Yeah, but that pass rush with no tackles, I don't know. I don't think you want to.
No, your point's taken. I don't disagree, but Trey Lance was their leading rusher in all 3 preseason games. I guess those guys were. I don't know who else.
They didn't play any starters at all.
They didn't. So. Okay, fair enough.
In fact, Trey Lance played the entire game, like almost all 3 times, and I played him in DraftKings all 3 times for preseason. So.
Well, how did you do?
I mean, I cashed. I didn't win. I cashed those lineups, so it's
all right.
Okay.
You're leaving me hanging there. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I forgot Jameis Winston was on the Browns too. Hey, if anyone out there in TV land, if you want to bet Deshaun Watson to win the MVP, if you're planning on doing that, let me know. I will take your bet.
I'll take your bet. Is that a thing? Yeah. I did get Watson in one of my best ball lineups, best ball teams.
Yeah.
Just because I needed a backup and I had Amari Cooper, so I'm like, I might as well.
Yeah. Anyone who's thinking about making a futures bet for the MVP, if you're planning on betting, just let me know. I'll accept it.
What is the number? Too. What is the number?
There ain't no way that would ever happen, no matter how well he played.
I mean, what if you reverse the 2020 for him? It's like it has to be like a 0.1% chance that happens. I don't know.
There's not a even if he had the best stats,
he wouldn't win it. Oh, I mean, I guess the people wouldn't vote for him. I suppose.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's free money for me. I'll take your bet. If you want to bet Deshaun, that's the only bet I'll take. Though.
He's 75-1, which seems absurdly low. That should be at least 200. Like D'Andre Jones is 150-1. Like I think. Well, at least the Browns are at least better. The Browns are at least better. Like I think he should probably be like 125-1 or 150-1.
Imagine how many things would have to happen for Daniel Jones to get MVP.
Well, I'm the idiot who bet him to win MVP once upon a time, like 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay. Saucy selection. I see you. Anyhow,
that was the year I thought the Giants are going to be good, and apparently not.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, I like the Browns here. I mean, I'll rethink it a little bit if the injury report isn't favorable, but if it is, I'd consider them for our card too. So
okay. Chris says the problem with this Deshaun sucks at football now. Yeah, and therein lies the rub.
Right.
The rub. Yes. All right. Sunday Night Football. I changed a bit on this game since I last talked about it. Rams at the Lions. This line is moved to 4, and I think 4.5 in some places because there's injury news today. Darius Williams is out for 4 weeks for the Rams, which is a big deal. He's super talented cornerback, and I thought that with Aaron Donald leaving, I wasn't that concerned with the Rams just because they made some great additions to their secondary this offseason. Darius Williams, Tre'Davious White, Cameron Curl. I know White's had his injuries, but if he's healthy, he could do well. And Williams was awesome last year for Jacksonville, but Williams is out, and I guess the Detroit receivers, that's going to be a big problem. So I like the Lions a little bit more. I was 0 units on them on Tuesday. Now I'm like 1 or 2 units, even though the lines moved up. And it's kind of a good thing because 3.5 is the worst spread to bet, just because it's so close to 3, whereas most games land on 3. But now it's 4, 4.5, which says that the line is, this game is not going to be nearly as close. So 4 covers more often than 3.5, which is weird, but it does. So I like the Lions a little bit now. I'm still concerned about a backdoor touchdown with Stafford, but with Darius Williams out, I like Detroit a little bit. I won't make the card, but I will be betting them. So what do you think?
Same. I like the Lions here too. I feel, let's get the obvious out of the way. Obviously, losing Aaron Donald was huge for the Rams, but I also think the Rams are a very strong team. In fact, late in the season, I bet them to win the Super Bowl. I think I had them. I had a really good number on it. Obviously, that didn't work out, but because that game was a 1-point game, I think 3.5 looks appealing to people who like. Where's the money going here? Is it on the Rams?
It's I think there's public money on the Rams. Let me see. Public money on the Rams, sharp money on the Lions.
Yeah, I like the Lions here. This line seems funny. If it was the fact that here we go, I was talking about that 3.5, 2.5 comparison. I like the Lions more because they're 3.5, because 3 seems so easy given the weapons that the Rams have and what they did against the Lions in the last playoff game. You know what I mean? I like the Lions here. I don't know if I'm gonna actually take it, but that's the thing. Last year, for those of you who don't know, Walter and I bet the Lions before the season started to win the Super Bowl, and it was that NFC Championship game was one of the most, if not the most disappointing I've ever felt. And they're not even my team. How cool would that be to be we bet the Lions win the Super Bowl, and they, after they've never even made it? That would have been such a cool story to tell your kids. Yeah. But now the secret's out. It's not as good. People know they're good now, so it wouldn't be as cool. I feel like if you I'd like to bet them this year to win the Super Bowl, but I'm not going to because it's the cool thing to do now, maybe. And I'm too contrarian.
I've been slowly and surely putting free money on the Lions. You know how sometimes you get free $10 bet from FanDuel or free $5 bet from DraftKings. I've been putting those free money bets on the Lions to win the Super Bowl. So
yeah. Oh, speaking of, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I haven't put a single dollar of mine on it, but it's just free money. So what are you saying?
A futures bet that I have going. It's actually I'm very pleased to announce this, and I know that it's your favorite sport too, so you're gonna love it.
Oh God,
it's the WNBA. So a month and a half ago, I bet the Indiana Fever to win the championship at 100-1. I put $10 on it, so 10 to win 1,000. And then all of a sudden they started clicking, they clinched a playoff spot, and there's only 3 rounds of playoffs. So 10 to win 1,000, I'm guaranteed to just bet if I bet 100 every.
Wow,
series.
they're 18-1 now. Nice.
Yeah, I got them at 100-1. I have a cash out for $50 right now, and the season has it. But they locked. Because there's only 8 teams that make the playoffs, so there's only 3 rounds. It's an easy head because I remember thinking I was because at the beginning she was Caitlin Clark wasn't doing. she may be falling below expectations as first now. Like they have some good players on that team though, and like they're just winning and winning and winning and winning, and she's like doing everything. So
I didn't even know there were 8 teams in the WNBA.
There's 12.
8 out of 12 teams make the playoffs?
Yeah.
Stupid.
Well, you know what? Maybe if you supported it a little bit more, then they would have more funding for more teams, so more teams can make the playoffs, so you can be happy. But no, you don't want to watch it.
Why? Why would I watch? You're not supporting the paint drying league. Like people watch paint dry.
No, you're wrong. There's some really good games. I've seen some really good games, and sometimes it looks like a freaking blooper reel. But sometimes
some people say paint drying is fun.
Oh, you know what? You probably think paint drying's fun.
I don't know. It sounds more fun than WNBA to me.
All right, one day I'll change your mind. Anyhow, what do we got? We got one more here.
Well, we have a couple comments here.
Okay.
Chris says scary to bet the Lions against Sean McVay with all summer to plan for a revenge game.
Fair point.
Well, this is the John Sanders quote here. He talked about it, and like he said it on the show 2 years ago, and I looked into it, and it makes a lot of sense. So Sean McVay is 6-1 against the spread in week 1, but if you look at like his opponents, they've all been pretty weak. Except for the Bills in 2022, and he got destroyed then. And I looked into it, like great coaches who have a great week 1 spread record, like Andy Reid, Bill Belichick, McVay, John Harbaugh. Like whenever they play bad or mediocre teams, they tend to win in week 1 and cover. But if they play a good team, then they don't, just because they don't have that edge. And the Lions are obviously a great team, so they're not going to have the edge McVay usually has. In fact, there's no situation like that this year, which is a little weird. Like Chiefs, Ravens were not because they played each other. Bill Belichick's gone, and then you have Sean McVay here, who is playing against the Lions. And I looked into what Matt LaFleur for the Packers usually has a great week 1 track record as well, and he's done a great job with the Packers too. So you can't bet him either because he's playing a great team. So there's no situation like that this year. So Matthias says, I like the Rams here for 3 reasons. F the Lions. Rams are better. I drafted Stafford as my QB1 in the 15th round.
Oh, wow.
So if you didn't draft Stafford, would you still like the Rams? So you only have 2 reasons. All right. Monday night game, Jets of 49ers. This line has been like all over the place. It started at like 6. It's dropped to 4 because people thought Trent Williams was going to play and Brandon Ayuk was going to be traded. And then Ayuk resigned. Trent Williams resigned. Both those guys are going to play. McCaffrey's practicing again. It looked a little dicey here for the 49ers for a second. And I thought if Williams is not going to play, I thought I'd be on the Jets. But Williams will play. Niners at full strength suddenly. They have the circadian rhythms in their favor. The Jets suck against the run. Leaky Fotu is out. They signed him to be the big nose tackle to stop the run, which they couldn't do last year, and he's injured. So they can't use him until like week 5, so I think, because he's on IR. So I'm on the Niners. This is not like a game I'm like eager to bet, but I could see myself betting it potentially. So what do you think?
I like the Niners here a pretty good bit. I just think people, we said a couple times last season, all the Jets are missing is a quarterback. Whoa, Rodgers is back, so they're going to be great, right? It's like, well, I mean, he's 40-something, 41 now, and he hasn't played any meaningful football in a year and a half. Mm-hmm. Like, who's to say that, like, it's, I mean, yeah, like, obviously as a Packers fan, like, I think Rodgers is one of the greatest of all time, especially. But it's like, I just think that, like, people think, oh, like he's going to do awesome. I just don't think he's going to like snap your fingers and not play any meaningful football for a year and a half. And like, it's just going to like click. It might not, and interconference on the road, circadian rhythms, it's just like, I don't like the 49ers. Also, Aaron Rodgers can't beat the 49ers, lest we forget.
Yep. That is his kryptonite for sure.
I mean, believe me, I've suffered through it. So I like the 49ers here. I actually think they're not a bad survivor play either. But because I think they could run away with this too.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's going to be like a light switch, like, oh, the Jets are back. Just, so. Niners for me.
Cassandra says QB is absolutely not the Jets. Not all the Jets are missing last season. The Jets are missing an offensive line. Yeah, they had a lot of injuries. They had a lot of injuries up front. But despite the quarterback play and the line play, they still finished with 7 wins. So, like, Rodgers is definitely going to be better than Zach Wilson. Like, even if he's decrepit, like, he's still going to be better. So, that is it's just a good situation for the Jets overall. But I think this is a tough spot for them. And so I agree. If you want the Niners on the card, I'm all for it. But I'm not like super eager to bet them. I think there's just a lot of better situations.
Yeah. I think you're right. And I think that will, like you said, obviously Rodgers is a tremendous upgrade from Zach Wilson, but
yeah,
I think that will happen, what you said, but I don't know. This is a tough team to do it like right out the gate. Like, you really think, like, after not playing, it's going to be tough to like hit the ground running. I think after not playing for a year and a half, like there might be some, shaking the rust off a little bit. I could definitely see that happening. So I think they're going to play better. They'll probably have a decent season, but I just don't know. Like, this is a tall order. It's a tall order, I think.
Yeah.
Against this team on the road. So that's what I'm saying. I'm sticking with the 49ers here.
I agree. Bagley says you'll have much better opportunities to use the Niners in Survivor. Yeah, he's right. And then TJ Parks says, I don't see a way San Francisco can lose. Well, I mean, any team, it's any given Sunday, right? Even Monday, like that's the saying. Any team could lose.
Yeah.
But I do think the Niners are the right side. So. On the card, we have Eagles, Panthers, Titans, and Cardinals for sure. So we'll have to decide a 5th game. So we can do that. We can do that off stream. But those are our picks. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
I think that's it. I probably have to go. I have to work in the morning, so I'll have to wrap up quickly. But we'll have other opportunities to hang out afterwards and banter. We won't lose that aspect of the show.
Absolutely. And plus, we'll be doing Thursday games earlier because they had that delay tonight. So it was our start time was delayed as well. So so looking forward to breaking down the rest of the season with you, Tom. This is always a blast. So. Thanks everyone for watching and liking and subscribing, and please make sure you do all of that. Especially thank you to John Sanders for the 411 super chat. Just really appreciate it, John. We'll be back not tomorrow, on Saturday. We're gonna be doing our Saturday notes show. Join us then. Once again, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit the link in the description for the merch store. Tom, anything to plug here? Maybe your Twitch channel?
Yeah, go ahead, put the Twitch up there. I'll tell you what, I've been honking on Rocket League. I won 2 tournaments in one day the other day. I need to update that. Wow. I'm a 6-time Rocket League.
Nice.
4-time silver tournament tier and 2-time gold tier now. So I'm moving on up here. But yeah, I mean, I just go on there and kind of if you watch this show during the off season where Walter and I just talk about whatever. That's kind of what the streams are. But I talk some sports too, and it's just we hang out while I play video games in the background. But I appreciate the follow. Appreciate everyone watching here tonight, and looking forward to this. Is just week 1.
Yep,
we'll be here every week for a while now. So I can't wait, man.
17 more to go. So it's gonna be a blast. Hopefully we win much more like we did tonight. Looking forward to it. We'll be back on Saturday. I hope you guys have a great start to your weekend, and I'll talk to you later.
Good night, guys.